I had always thought I could quietly build my life, keeping my achievements to myself, while my family floated in their own world. My mom, proud but controlling, had a way of sizing up my success without ever saying it aloud. I liked my independence, liked earning and spending as I wanted, but that day, everything changed. She walked in without warning, her expression sharp, her eyes flicking between me and my brother. The spoiled one, the one who had never worked a day in his life, trailed behind her, grinning like he already knew he was about to get what he wanted. The air instantly grew heavy. Her fingers flexed around her purse as if calculating what she could take. There was no greeting, no asking how I was, just a pointed remark about my good fortune, dripping with entitlement. Then came the demand, subtle at first, almost polite, but impossible to ignore. She wanted my money. The words hit me like a punch I hadn't seen coming. How could the person who had raised me think she could just walk in and claim what I earned? My brother chuckled, leaning back lazily, as if watching a show. I clenched my fists under the table, forcing myself to breathe, forcing myself to stay calm. That day, something inside me shifted. I realized I wouldn't stay silent, not this time. I wasn't just going to let them take what was mine, I was going to make sure they understood that. After that day, I didn't speak. I didn't argue. I let them believe I was still the same quiet person, the one they thought they could manipulate without consequence. But inside, everything had changed. Every action, every word, every glance between my mom and my brother became a puzzle I studied carefully. I watched them like a hawk, noticing the little tells they thought I missed, the way my mom's eyes lingered on my wallet, the way my brother's smirk deepened whenever she mentioned my generosity, the way they whispered in corners as if conspiring behind my back. I started noticing patterns I had never paid attention to before. My mom had been keeping track of my income for months, maybe years, calculating when she could pressure me, when she could push my brother to act as the enforcer. The realization stung more than the initial demand. This wasn't a one-time greedy impulse. This was a carefully orchestrated attempt to claim what I had earned, to make me feel obligated, to remind me that no matter how independent I was still their child and their provider. And my brother, he wasn't just spoiled. He was practiced. Every lazy joke, every mock frustration, every exaggerated sigh was designed to wear me down. I realized how often they had teamed up in subtle ways, how they had tried to normalize my sacrifice. They made me question myself, doubt whether I was being selfish for wanting to keep what I had earned. It was a slow, suffocating pressure, but I didn't react, at least, not outwardly. I started preparing. Quietly, methodically. I documented every demand, every veiled threat, every manipulation. I secured my finances, moving what I could out of reach, ensuring that their attempts to take advantage would fail. I rehearsed scenarios in my mind, imagining their faces when they finally realized I had seen everything. I watched carefully how they interacted, how they expected me to fold, and how easily they assumed my compliance. The more I observed, the more I understood their true motives. I discovered secrets I hadn't anticipated. My mom, who always portrayed herself as selfless, had quietly been borrowing from my accounts before, leaving debts she expected me to cover without question. My brother had been using little tricks to make it seem like he was helpless, like I was responsible for his comfort. Every lie, every manipulation, became a thread I carefully pulled at, understanding that the more I knew, the stronger my position would become. Pressure built slowly, like water behind a dam. I felt my anger, yes, but it was mixed with clarity. This wasn't just about money, it was about respect, about boundaries, about asserting that I was not their plaything, not their source of endless entitlement. I waited, letting them believe that I was still the same, that I was still passive, that their schemes were working. And then the moment came. A small trigger, something so ordinary that they never expected it would set me in motion. My mom casually mentioned an upcoming expense and looked at me, expecting me to nod and comply without hesitation. My brother chimed in, lazily, like a rehearsed echo. At that instant, something inside me clicked. The calm I had maintained broke into a controlled storm. I decided I would act, not with rage, but with precision. I would make them face the consequences of their actions, make them understand that I had observed everything, and make them feel the weight of their entitlement without a single shout. I took a deep breath and began the final phase in my mind, the confrontation. Every step, every word, every revelation was mapped out. They wouldn't see it coming, not until it was too late. I let the tension build inside me, savoring the quiet before the storm. They had underestimated me for too long, assumed I would always yield, assumed I would silently give in. That assumption was about to shatter completely. The quiet smirk that had once belonged to my brother, the confident posture of my mom, the way they had looked at me as if I were beneath them, all of it was about to change. And when it did, I would be calm, unshakable, and fully in control. This wasn't just revenge. It was restoration, it was reclaiming dignity, and it was proving that I would no longer be the person they could manipulate at their leisure. The day of confrontation arrived quietly, but the impact was seismic. I didn't yell, I didn't storm the room. I laid everything bare with calm precision, every manipulation, every lie, every subtle demand they thought I hadn't noticed. My mom's eyes widened, the confident mask slipping from her face as she realized I had seen through every scheme. My brother's smug grin vanished, replaced by shock and panic, as he understood that the effortless handouts he relied on were gone. I spoke steadily, letting each truth settle in the room like a stone in water, rippling through their carefully constructed assumptions. I showed them that I was not a passive child anymore, not a wallet to raid or a pawn to play with. Every calculated word reminded them that I had observed, recorded, and prepared. There was no shouting, no dramatics, just the undeniable weight of clarity. My mom tried to argue, to appeal to old roles, but I remained firm, unwavering. My brother stammered, caught between fear and disbelief, realizing that their entitlement could no longer dictate my actions. When they finally left, humbled and quiet, I felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Relief because I had reclaimed control, my boundaries respected. Sorrow because trust, once broken, could never fully return. But more than anything, I felt empowered. I had proven that respect couldn't be demanded, it had to be earned. Sitting alone afterward, I let the calm wash over me. I had won more than money. I had won dignity, independence, and the knowledge that I would no longer allow anyone to manipulate me, no matter how close they were. The quiet victory lingered, more satisfying than any loud confrontation ever could.